The weekly fitness update is now out, folks, and we got through Monday night without dropping the I word, so I'm going to do my best to get through this video without doing it again, see if we can go back to back. But the fitness report came out from Benny Serple on the club website, and the players seem to be doing really well, enjoyed a break and come back with a heap of energy, and the training was pretty quick and slick, which is what you love to hear. But when it comes down to the actual players that they're speaking about, and this is where I'm going to really try my hardest to not drop the word, Taj Houghton, ACL test. Oof. Exciting to say that Taj is a test for this week. If he gets through main training on Thursday, then he'll be available to play this weekend. That's what we love to hear. Taj Houghton should be, for all intents and purposes, available to play. I would love to slot him just straight in at AFL level, which I know would be unrealistic. So it's probably expected that he will be playing VFL in some way, shape or form this week. I'm guessing that's going to look like a half. Maybe they spread it out over 4 quarters like they did with Dion, or maybe it's just a half flat and then manage minutes the next week and so on and so forth. But either way, super exciting to have Taj Houghton just about ready, available for selection. We'll fingers crossed see him this week. Curtain raiser at Marvel Stadium, 11 o'clock. You can get into the ground, I think, through gates 5, 8, and 9, if memory serves me correctly. I retweeted it earlier on, so you will be able to watch the VFL live if you are going to the game. Jaden Short, calf, 1 week. So he was down for a test for this week to see if he was right to play, but it hasn't progressed as well as they would have liked, so they're going to give him another week before making him available for selection. Disappointing for Shorty. I mean, look, the silver lining is it gives Sam Banks another opportunity to really show his worth at halfback and to sort of stamp his case for why that role should be his. And then Jaden Short has to force his way back in or into a different position, or what that might look like. I'm sure we'll find out in the near future. But so Shorty's still another week away. Sam Lawler, hamstring, 1 to 3 weeks. Sam Lawler going quite well. Unlike everyone else, he didn't get a break last week and was in for a bit of rehab. He did a bit of running yesterday and ran fast for the first time in a while. We want to spend a bit more time to make sure that he's ready to perform, not just play, and he can slot straight back into the AFL side if needed. So obviously the explosiveness is the big trigger for hamstring issues. So good to see he's back doing that. He's obviously been on the park doing some lighter running and some footwork skills for quite a while. They almost do it within a week or so from the time, or from the occurrence, should I say. But look, 1 to 3 weeks is a bit of a broadish window. I, again, fully expect to see him playing AFL by round 18, if not earlier. Very, very exciting to get Samuel Lawler back out there. It's weird, isn't it? Because there's been moments in games where he hasn't played where I know a lot of us have thought, geez, we could have really done with Sam Lawler out there, which is crazy to think for a first-year player, the impact he can have on a playing group, but such as the player he is. Josh Smiley, conditioning 2 to 4 weeks. Smill's having a conditioning block, and that's going quite well at the moment. He's making some really good gains athletically. We're ready for him to continue running fast and doing that a lot. We're probably looking at around 2 to 4 weeks with him. Really, really good news. I made a separate video about this, so I'll touch on it just very quickly. But you can see from the photos from training that Richmond put up that he has slimmed down quite a bit, and he's looking like toned, like what Lawler looked before he started playing. This always felt like it was just a get in shape block, like an AFL shape block. I just think with the sheer size of him, they had to do something to adjust to get him used to his body. And he might take a year or two to get used to his body in its entirety, but it's exciting to see him very, very close. And I personally won't be shocked if we bypass VFL and just go straight to AFL, assuming the conditioning's right. I think he'll actually gain more and be more better. I think he will have a better run at AFL level than VFL level, where he was getting tagged. But I know there'll be a lot that disagree with that notion as well, and that's okay. That's just how I would maybe potentially play it. Josh Gibcus, ACL, 2 to 5 weeks. Gibbo's doing really well. We're excited to see him out there doing more training without a non-contact hat on. That's exciting. He also missed out on having a break, but he came in and got a good body of work done through the bye period, putting himself in the best position possible to get back to play. We're expecting him to be available for selection in around 2 to 5 weeks. Now, that's a broad window, 2 to 5 weeks. There's quite a substantial variance between what that looks like. If there's one thing that I've noticed as a trend with some of these dates when players are coming back from something, that it's typically fell onto the shorter side of the return date rather than the longer, more often than not. And I know they're probably going to be a bit more conservative with Gibcus given his history. So I reckon we split the difference in, say, 3 weeks. So what are we at now? Around 15. So maybe by round 18, he'll be playing VFL football, hopefully. And it could even be the week earlier based on this time frame. It could be the week after as well, I guess. But let's say we see him playing VFL at round 18. I would like to think that we could see him playing AFL football by rounds 22, 23, 24. Now, I know form will permit, and I know that what I'm about to say may not sit well with people. And so I generally am not a fan of gifting games. I would almost be happy to make an exception for Gibbo, just purely for his own mental state to know and trust that his body can do it at AFL level. Go out and play the last game of AFL football. Whatever happens in terms of how many disposals you get and things like that. But just go out there and know that your body can handle the rigors of AFL after playing in VFL for a few weeks. I just think it would be good reward for effort for him, given the journey he's had and the fact that we've set timelines and things like that. I've seen some people suggest that he won't play AFL or much football at all this year. I strongly disagree. The fact that we've put a time frame on it, to me, you don't do that unless you've got full intention to play him. And I know people will say, oh yeah, but we'll just wait till next year. I don't think that's going to work in this case. I think you've got to reward his rehab effort. You've got to get him back out there and give him the confidence in himself and his body that he's going to be fine. So hopefully we see Gibbo out there sooner rather than later. Harry Armstrong, hamstring 2 to 5 weeks. Harry, similar to the other guys, didn't go away last week and came in for some more training. He's running fast and getting involved in a lot more footy drills now. Unfortunately for Harry, because he's missed such a big chunk of time, we need to make sure that he does get enough footy exposure over the next little while. With the bye, he missed that, so he's still around 2 to 5 weeks away. Again, a largish window, and I guess they're being ultra conservative with him as well. I dare say, again, I feel like by around the round 18 mark, we might see him back in some type of VFL football. It's going to be interesting to see how big he is up top now, because he's been doing a fair bit of weights by all reports. So I'm keen to see how he's going there. Thompson Dow, 4 to 7 weeks with the patella. Unfortunately, things aren't progressing too well for Dow in the early stages. He's still yet to start running. They're going to have to wait and see and get some swelling down off the knee before he can start or can recommence running again. So that's, shit news for Thompson Dow, who prior to that point in time had a really good season, to be honest. Campbell Gray, knee TBC. Similar to Dow, Campbell Gray, they're not really sure where he's at yet. They're just wanting to see how it all settles down. He tried running the other day, but it didn't respond so well. So I guess they're going back to the drawing board, keeping him off his feet, and just playing it slowly and working out what the next moves are. And Juddy Clark, obviously we know the ACL, which is gut-wrenching. They're still in the process. I find this really interesting. They're still in the process of consulting a number of different surgeons to make sure that we can get this right going forward. Once we've got an idea of what we're going to do, we'll give an update on where that's at and when he gets surgery. But certainly he's not due back until next year at this stage. Why I find that interesting is, I would hazard a guess that most of the footy clubs would have their go-to sort of surgeons, doctors and whatnot to sort all this stuff out. And as annoying as ACL injuries are, these days, they're pretty run-of-the-mill, whether we all like it or not. That's just how it is, not just in footy, but in all sports. So there would already be process and protocol in place for a regular ACL. Now, obviously, this being his third, it changes a little bit maybe with what graft they use. Are they exploring a different technique like the LARS or something else that might be out there now? Are they looking offshore, internationally, potentially? If there's some better options over there with techniques and the way they do it, I'm not sure. But I do like that they are looking around at what the best option is going to be for Juddy and where he's at with his football. Obviously, still very young, so he's got time on his side. But yeah, I just find that really interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing the outcome of that. And look, as someone who's gone through it, I would actually love to have this tracked and just to learn more about his journey and how he's going through all this. He might not want to do that, and that's totally okay as well. But fingers crossed we land on the answer there soon for him, and we can get that underway so we can get back out into the park in 2026. But there you go. That is the fitness report for round 15. I'm pretty confident I've just gotten through that without dropping the I-bomb. So that could be a Monday night show tick and a fitness report video tick. And that's a sign of good things to come, folks. But yeah, big story is Taj Houghton, though. Hopefully we see him out there playing some VFL this week. It'd be bloody unreal. Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more Richmond updates. And until the next one, go Tigers.